Okay, welcome, gentle yoga. Just for tonight, we're going to work from the bottom up. So let's start with ease in the knees, maybe a little bend in the knees, but mostly we want to be stable in the standing foot, and we're gonna roll the toes under. Okay, so you may not be able to roll them as far as I'm rolling them, but the idea is to apply some healthy stress to the knuckles of the toes. Right, roll them under. And you can do this, you want to do this in the mat because the mat is soft. You want to make sure that this is comfortable. You don't have to, actually. You can apply this load on a hard surface as long as you're applying it with just the right load. But most of us have mats, and it's actually more comfortable and probably more efficient to use a mat underneath the toes. And so we're sort of rolling and rocking the toes, and you can see I'm going to show you that in order for me to get further over, I'm going to need to bend this standing knee. I want to keep my balance. You see how my balance is lined up over that standing ankle so that I can apply load to the outside of the foot, the little toes, right? You see this, right? I'm turning my ankle. So there's three pieces of this to this practice here. One is to feel the engagement and healthy stress in the knuckles of the toes. The other is to feel the stretch in the top of the foot, right? The fascia in the top of the foot. We want to get that stretched out. And the third, and this does require absolute care here in the standing leg, we want to allow ourselves to turn the ankle out and feel into the vulnerability out there. Right? You can tell, you know where it is because it feels scary, right? And that's the whole point of vulnerability is that your body is like, whoa, 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 right? So as long as you're applying just the right load to the outside of the ankle, it can be healthy. You can start to wake up capacity here that maybe has been idle for a long time because most of us don't want to turn the ankle out, right? But we can start to build strength from here, right? So you turn the ankle out, you know you've got all of your weight secure and stable here on the standing leg, and then you can start to press. You can dorsiflex the foot. You can sort of press the toes away from the mat. Try to draw the toes towards the shin, right? This function here is dorsiflexion, right? So if you can dorsiflect your foot into the, to press the toes away from the mat, you start to build strength in the outside of that ankle. So you get sensation in the toe, sensation in the fascia in the top of the foot, sensation in the outside of the ankle. All right, do that another couple of times. You got to do this. Remember, when you turn your ankle out, you're going real slow. You're managing the load very precisely into the outside of that ankle because you want to make sure that you're not going to ever lose your balance here. So you might want to hold on to a wall, make sure that you're braced so that you can load that exactly the right amount. Okay, let's go ahead and shake that loose. One of the things that happens to me, by the way, is in doing that, I get a little cramp on the underside of my foot. And so I know that I need to give that foot a chance to stretch out a little bit. Feel the plantar fascia underneath getting a stretch. All right, now let's go to the other side. So we're going to bring the weight into this opposite side leg. Start to curl the toes under. Feel the sensations in the knuckles of the toes. All of them, right? See if you can get. Now, in order to get all of them, you kind of have to turn that ankle out to get the pinky toe, right? So if you can, see if you can get the sensation in all of them. Feel the stretch in the top of the foot, the fascia in the top of the foot. Back and forth. And then allow that ankle to drift out to the side and see. So there's a subtle thing here. Let's see if you can see this with the contrast in my. Okay, you see that? I'm straightening my leg. That's helping to create more stretch in the top of the foot. And in straightening my leg, I also have the opportunity to press a little bit more aggressively on the outside of the ankle. This is all has to be done very attentively to the sensations that are arising and do it in a way that feels good, right? I mean, it's a stretch, so it has the capacity, it has the potential to feel good as long as you do it in a way that is safe, right? So you expose our vulnerability from a position of strength. The position of strength is solid balance in the standing leg. So and maybe hands to the walls, right? So that you know exactly how much load you're going to place on the outside of that foot. Right? Never more than you can safely do and be sustainable and feel that you're absolutely stable in the standing side, right? So that you can always back out. And you get to play with how much stress you apply to the outside of that ankle. Meanwhile, the knuckles of your toes are saying, wow, this feels awesome. The stretching the top of your foot feels good, right? You know, if you have a little bit of arthritis in the toes, this can start out being quite painful. But the thing is, if you do it just the right amount, you can start to wake up the healing potential that exists in the body in those knuckles. You get synovial fluid flowing into those knuckles. Next thing you know, it starts to feel great. And by the way, I had something going on my left big toe for a while, and I did this rolling motion on that knuckle, and over a period of about five or 6 weeks, it went away. So it's possible, at least it was for me. So okay, let's shake that out, let that go. So now that our ankles are good, right? We're gonna. It looks like we're going up to the hips. We're going to make figure eights with the hips, but there's more to this than just the hips. So to make figure eights with the hips, you're going to draw the hip out to the side, and then out front, and then dive back through the midline. Take the other hip out to the side, out to the front, and dive back through the midline. Now you don't have to do this real big at first. In fact, better to do this kind of small at first to build warmth in the joints. For right now, let your focus be in your hips. You know, I've got my feet pointing straight forward. You can see that my ankles are pointing straight forward. My toes are pointing straight forward. So as I move, I can feel that alignment of my lower legs, good and solid. And I can allow the hips to be fluid, because I feel grounded in my feet. Now I want to start moving a little bit wider circles. I've warmed up a little bit through my hips. So I want to take this, make a bigger, basically circumscribe a bigger space with my hips, cover a little bit more terrain. Now, the potential is to feel this on the outside of the hips, right? To feel a stretch out here. And that can go out down into the IT band a little bit. Now, what you're doing, perhaps not realizing it, is you're also working your knees pretty aggressively. Aggressively is the wrong word. Pretty significantly, right? So one of the things that you can do here is pay attention to the sensations in your knees. Now, one way to do that is to close your eyes. So if you close your eyes and just feel down into your knees, notice, just pay attention to your left knee, for example. Think just what's going on with your left knee. Do you feel the circle that knee is making? Maybe it's an ellipse or an oval of some kind. Do you feel that? Do you feel the healthy stress on the outside of the knee, just like we did with the ankle, right? You can also feel a healthy stress on the outside of the knee here. And you want to press into that just the right amount, right? So you can see that I'm going pretty quickly here, but you might actually want to go quite a bit slower, right? Because that allows you to feel the sensation of that stress in the outside of the knee in a way that's safe. The other advantage of going slower is you can probably manage your balance a little better, a little further out. You can make maybe a slightly bigger figure 8, and you have more time to feel everything that's going on in the body. Right? So going slow is safer. It creates the opportunity for more sensation. It allows you to find a bigger range of motion. So going slow is a good thing. Now let's come back to the knees. Pay attention to the circles that the knees are making, because we're going to change directions here, and we're going to do that by changing the direction of the circles that the knees are making. So the next time your right knee comes forward, right out in front, change directions and take that right knee in the other direction. Left knee as well. Right? So everything changes now. It's a little easier, at least for me, to change directions of my figure 8s by focusing on the way my knees move. So we've got the knees going in opposite directions now. The figure 8 feels different because now we're pushing forward through the midline instead of drawing back through the midline. You may find that you feel a little less coordinated in this direction, or maybe you feel more coordinated in this direction. I know it feels a little bit more foreign to me to do it this way. Circles with the hips. So you see, my feet are about shoulder width apart. They're a little wider than, well, maybe they're hip width. They're between hip width and shoulder width apart. So that's kind of where you want to be. And you get to decide how deep into the knees you bend. The more you allow your knees to bend, the more you can hinge over at the hips. And the more stability you have, actually. I mean, to a point, right? I mean, if you get to a point where your knees are bent so much that you feel you're entering terrain where your knees are weak, then that's too much. But you can press the hips forward here and press the hips back, hinging at the hips. The more movement we have here in terms of changing the angles, the more opportunity we have to experience the stretch. And that stretch can be in the hamstrings, it can be in the glutes, it can be in the low back, it can be in the hip flexors in the front here. Meanwhile, we're lubricating all of the synovial, we're using synovial fluid to lubricate all of the surfaces of the joints. And that's true of the hips, the knees, the ankles, even into the feet. Change directions. And notice if there's any terrain here that you're going through that feels uneven or not beautiful, I like to say, right? I mean, if it feels clunky, if it doesn't feel like a smooth curve, maybe there's something there that's worth exploring, going, retracing over that terrain. Should feel good, right? If you're pressing into terrain here so aggressively that you're starting to feel pain or discomfort, you don't really need to go that far. So slow down and find your proper edge. Find the exact edge all the way around that feels good, right on the edge. And it can be different from side to side because we have latent stresses and scar tissue and injuries and so on. Okay, let's change directions again. Just wind this around a few more times. Okay. That ought to spiral yourself up to neutral, to vertical, and then take the knees together. Take your hands on your knees and make circles with your knees. Now, again, you might not be making circles that are as wide, as big as mine. It's okay. Just make the circles that feel good to you. So this is part balance, part strength, part healthy stress in the knees. You want this to feel good all the way around. Change directions. Feel that. Doesn't have to be super deep. Just enough to feel some energy in the knees. Change directions again. A couple times around. How are those quads doing? Change directions again. How bending just the right amount. Pressing to the side just the right amount. And come to neutral. And stand and shake them out. Okay, so we've warmed the feet, the ankles, the knees, the hips. Let's grab a chair. I guess I should have told you to get a chair before we started. Okay, so we're going to sit on the edge of the chair, knees wide apart. So you can see I'm really quite far forward in the chair. Yeah? Right? And my knees are wide apart. And I'm going to press down into my thighs. So I'm going to turn back here so you can see. My knees are wide. My fingers are down, pointing down. And I have this opportunity to press right into my thighs. That's going to do, the first thing that you're going to feel is the stretch through the inner thighs. And that's fine, right? But that's not actually the whole story here. We're going to add a twist here. So we're going to press down. So take your left hand, press into your left thigh, drop your left shoulder down. Now as far down as you feel you can do comfortably, pressing into the thigh, and look over the right shoulder. Now just hang out here and breathe a few breaths. And notice the sensation of the breath. What is this? How does the breath change the sensation of the stretch? Where's the breath going here? Can you feel the stretch along the abdominal obliques here on the side? Can you feel it in the side ribs? Maybe you feel it up into the shoulder blade. Okay, take one more big inhale here. Exhale back to neutral. And let's try the other side. You're going to press into your right thigh, straighten your right arm, drop your right shoulder down, look over your left shoulder, and breathe. So there's so much opportunity here for you to regulate how deeply you twist and how much you press. So your mission here is to pay attention to how you feel and declare that you're doing it right if it feels awesome. Right? So you want to feel good here. The depth of your breath is also important, right? Because the breath has a tremendous power to change the shape of the body and to apply pressure to structures inside the body. So you want to breathe just the right depth with just the right twist so that you feel great. Now, take one more inhale and exhale back to neutral. Go ahead and shake your hips a little bit. Now, we're going to do this a little bit more. We're going to do this as a flow, breath to breath. Important. Do this in a way that feels good. Overtaxing your twist doesn't actually feel good and it doesn't help. So the goal is not to see how far you can twist. The goal is to see how good you can feel. So do this, start slowly and gradually increase the intensity of your sensation. Notice I didn't say the depth of your twist. Increase the intensity of your sensation so that it feels good. All right, so we're going to find our squat position here. We're going to drop the left shoulder down. Empty your breath here. Empty your breath. Drop your shoulder down. Look over your right shoulder. Now inhale. What do you feel? Exhale back to neutral. Keep the breath empty. Twist the other way. Empty. Now inhale. Exhale back to neutral. Keep the breath empty. Twist to the right. Pressing your left hand into your thigh. Look over your right shoulder. Inhale here. Exhale back to neutral. Keep the breath empty. Twist left. Once you're there, take your in-breath. Explore. Exhale back to neutral. Leave the breath empty. Twist right. Inhale. Exhale back to neutral. Twist left, empty. Inhale. Exhale to neutral. Twist while empty. Twist right, breathe. Exhale back to neutral. Stay empty, twist left. Inhale. Back to neutral. Twist empty. Inhale. Exhale back to neutral. Twist empty. Inhale. Exhale back to neutral. And sit up. Stand up. And just shake things out a little bit. Maybe make a couple of circles. Okay. Now, we're going to go into some upper body stretches. We're going to come back to the chair in a little bit, but for right now, let's get the rest of the body moving. You know, you can actually do this sitting in the chair if you want, I think for the most part. I'm going to step a little bit wider apart, and I'm just going to take my arms up. Inhale. And I'm going to draw my hands down in front of me, stretching my back body as I exhale. Inhale up, open the chest. Exhale. Reach the arms forward, press the heart space back, sink a little bit into your knees. Inhale up, heart space opens. Exhale. Stretching your back body. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And release. Shake it out. Kick your feet out a little bit. All right, let's come back to the chair, because I feel like sitting. All right. So again, to the front edge of the chair, And this time we're just going to lean to the right, lift the left arm up. Okay, so what are we accomplishing here? We're opening up the side belly, the side ribs. And I'm going to press down with my forearm into this inner thigh. And I'm just going to reach. And I'm going to inhale and feel that stretch. And I'm going to exhale back down to neutral. Straighten my spine. Take the left hand inside, right arm comes up. A little press here. So the press allows me to rotate my chest open a little bit. So I want to feel the stretch along the side body for the most part. Nice big inhale. Exhale down. Other side, inhale up. Exhale down. Other side again, inhale up. Exhale down. One more each side. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And reset. Okay. Now let's just take a few breaths, a few deep breaths in, and I'm going to show you my posture as I breathe in here. I'm going to draw my chest forward. Inhale. And exhale. So I'm going to curve myself down here. Inhale. And exhale. See if it feels good to press your hands forward and stretch open the space behind the heart. We did this a little bit earlier, but now we're going a little further, a little more intensity. Inhale. Exhale. Press and stretch the back. We can call this seated cat-cow if you want. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Couple more. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. And come back up to neutral. Oh, starting to feel pretty good. Okay. So still seated for the most part on the edge of the chair. Well, let's see. Maybe you want to push back a little bit because we want to be stable enough because we're going to draw the knee up. Right? So there's not a lot. Let's see. Let's say it this way. We draw the knee up. We can feel a stretch in the glute. We can feel some stretch in the thigh, right? If you hug the knee in a little bit, right? Now, some of us might feel compression in the hip flexor here, right? This set of muscles here, and it might feel uncomfortable. So, mostly that's because the fascia in that area is stuck, or maybe you have scar tissue if you've had a hip replacement or something like that. So the mission is to just feel around in here, right? Now, we did some of this when we did our hip figure eights, right? But maybe there's some terrain here that we didn't get to when we were doing our hip figure eights, in particular because the thigh is drawn way up to the belly here, or as high as you can get it to go. Now, because there's arms on this chair, better to do this on a chair that doesn't have arms, right? Because then you can have a little bit more room to move. But you want to stay balanced, right? You don't want to fall. Nothing good comes from falling off the chair. Okay. And we're going to set this down. And we're going to go to the other side. So I'm going to turn because it just gives me a little bit more swing room here. But I don't want to fall. So take your time and adjust your position so that you can do this in a way that feels safe, right? You don't have to do it as fast as I'm doing it. You don't have to do it as big as I'm doing it. You don't have to do it as high as I'm doing it. The point is to feel what's happening inside your hip and thigh. And, and we're not done here. We're going to keep going. We're going to go back to the other side in a minute and do some other things. So just get this warm. Feel into this fascia here in the hip crease. A couple more times around. All right, and come to neutral. Now we're going to re-square ourselves, recenter ourselves. Take this left leg up. And if you can, take the hand to the bottom of the foot, wrap it around the outside of the foot, and turn. And place, something, right? The ankle, the shin, the high ankle, the shin, something where it feels comfortable. And you're placing it somewhere on the thigh, somewhere here, where it feels comfortable. Right? Maybe out by the knee, maybe a little closer in, but you want to be prepared to manipulate this angle because we're going to try to create some stretch here by pressing down into the knee, down into the thigh, opening this up. And you can take leverage from whatever you got, right? I can do this by holding myself firmly on the chair and pressing. I got my back arm here grabbing the back of the chair. And I'm just going to let this soak a little bit. Doesn't have to be movement. The only thing that you have to do is pay attention to how you're feeling. What are the sensations that are arising in all of this, and where, right? Some of it can be in the knee, as long as it's not super tweaky painful, right? The knee is okay. Probably feeling stuff here in the hip crease and the outer glute. Let that all be important, right? So the pressure creates the sensation, and you're doing it right if it feels good. If it's, and there might be pain, right? And if you know that you have scar tissue in here, there's probably going to be pain. But the point is, there's two kinds of pain: pain where healing is occurring, and pain where healing is not occurring. And your body knows the difference. If it's the good kind of pain, then you're doing okay. If it's the bad kind, back off. Be a little bit more gentle with yourself. Now, if you're finding that this feels easy, you can add a twist here. So just like we did with when we were seated with the knees wide apart, if you want to get a little stretch here from down here in the lateral glute, up into the back, and this would be the quadratus lumborum area, and your external abdominal obliques. Or maybe those are your internal abdominal obliques. I can't remember now. Take a breath and notice how the breath creates sensation here too. One more big inhale. And if you're in the twist, you can unwind the twist. Now, to remove the leg, we use the arms, right? We always use the same care, the same precision to come out of postures that we use to come in, right? All right, let's go to the other side. Draw the knee up. Grab the bottom of the foot. Turn the knee out. Place the ankle on the thigh, or something approximating the ankle on some part of the thigh. And maybe you press down a little bit on this knee. Maybe you already got enough. Maybe just gravity is enough, right? Maybe that's gravity is enough to make you feel like you don't need to touch anything. There may also be a requirement to engage the ankle to feel safe here, because we started turning, when we were rolling our toes, we started applying healthy stress to the outside of the ankle. You may now know where that sense of vulnerability is here. And so you may want to add an active component. This is called pronating, when we turn the ankle to the outside. It's pronation. So you may want to pronate the ankle a little bit there as you press down. You don't have to. You can relax it. I'm going to relax mine. Decide how much you want to press down. Let it soak. If it feels good, if it feels healthy, if it feels enlivening, really, the word that I like to use is vitalizing pleasure. So there's a whole raft of sensations that fall under that internal conclusion of vitalizing pleasure. It might even be a little bit tweaky painful, but if it feels like you're scratching an itch, right, that's probably good. And we're not going to overdo, so we're not going to spend 2 hours here. So it's just enough to give yourself the opportunity to feel something, and you can, go in and out if that's what is working for you. There's no need for you to feel compelled to be static, right? The thing you're paying attention to is how you feel. Right? If you want to add the twist now, you can add the twist. And in adding the twist, like pressing down, straightening the arm, changing the angle of the chest, all kinds of ways that you can modify the posture to create different sensations in the body. And of course, the breath, how deeply you breathe, where you press the breath. What is it like to breathe a little bit deeper here? How does the breath want to affect the shape of the body? How does it create sensation in the body? A couple more. Gently unwinding your twist. Take stock of your situation here. What does this feel like? Use your hands to move your leg. Oh, there we go. Okay. Straighten your legs out. Maybe you want to press your body up here. Why would we do that? Okay. The feeling here with the legs out straight, if this works for you, to press your body up and forward, you get a front body stretch. Engage the glutes, press the hips forward a little bit. See what that feels like in the front body. Now you're going to feel it in the thighs, the hips, the belly, the ribs, the shoulders. In particular, the shoulders might be a little sensitive here because, depending on how far you press, you're going to feel some stretch in the shoulders. But it's not a bad thing if it feels good. Right? We don't want to overdo. A couple more of these. Okay, and come back to your seat. All right, so we're gonna do take a few minutes to work the neck. All right, clink clink. You're probably hearing clicks and clacks here. So the whole complex of the neck and the shoulders, very complicated terrain. As you move your neck in circles and start to explore, just take your time. There's so many ways in which the muscles of the neck can move the head, and you want to know that you're moving into terrain that feels safe before you go there. Right? So combinations of tilt and twist where that feels good. And the truth is, it takes a little time for the conscious awareness to register the sensations that are emerging from the neck, because there's so much data. There's so much information coming that it takes a little while for the awareness to figure out what exactly you're feeling. So go slowly enough to let that information get through the processing system to make you aware. Explore terrain that feels like it wants to be explored, but do so in a way that feels safe. You can press gently into resistance. So my suggestion is that if you're going to press into resistance, as you begin to encounter the resistance, slow way down, pause, and let the press into resistance blossom a little bit in your awareness, and then maybe push in a little further. Maybe you add a little nod of the head if you're pressing all the way to the left or to the right. And then if you were going to come out, relax first. Let things soften. And then draw your head to the other side. Look over your opposite shoulder. As you encounter your resistance, pause, let the sensation blossom. Maybe press a little further. Maybe nod up and down. All right, now to come out, we're going to release the pressure in first. Let things soften. And then come back to neutral. Great. Okay. Take your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, press the palms up, stretch from side to side. Hands down to the sides. Now we're going to stand, and we're going to use the back of the chair. And we're just going to, now you may be comfortable enough that you can go take your hands all the way to the ground, in which case, great. Otherwise, just hang out with your hands on the back of the chair, or if you have a bunch of options. You have chair, the back height, you have arm height, you have seat height, and you have the floor. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you can approach this. Keeping the knees fairly straight so that you find out where the sensation is, probably your hamstrings, right? And so you can bend your knees, hinge a little bit more at the hips. Now, a lot of guys end up feeling like it's actually not the hamstrings, or in addition to the hamstrings, it's this part of the low back that won't bend, right? So you end up with this curve here. I want to invite you to find a place where you can hold yourself in place, bend your knees enough so that you can lift your tail up. Right? Now, there's going to be some engagement here. There's going to be some exertion. But the goal is to lift the tail so that you can alleviate the limitation in the hamstrings and in the low back, so that you can begin to feel the stretch move down into the glutes and into the sacrum. Right? The ultimate mission someday is to have the thighs in contact with the belly and have the legs more or less straight, and the back, the spine completely relaxed, letting gravity draw length in the spine. If that's not you today, you can see it's not even me today, right? Don't worry about it. Just find a place that feels like a good stretch. See if you can get the stretch to happen in the glutes and in the low back and in the sacrum. And you can walk this fold, bending one knee then the other, pressing the weight into the straighter side heel, pressing the straighter side hip back. Then this would be the straighter side heel. Even if this knee is bent, it's straighter than this one, right? So you press the weight down into that heel, you press that hip backwards. It feels awesome. And you can feel that stretch all the way across the back. You can reach your fingers a little further. That's going to create length along the side body and through the shoulder blades. It's going to feel good too. If you feel like twisting, adding a little twist here, as you straighten the straight side leg, as you press the straight side hip back, you can rotate the straight side belly towards the sky. Yeah? Again, only if it feels better, right? We don't do it just because some guy in blue leotard says to, right? You do it because it feels good. All right, couple more each side. And come to neutral, bend the knees. You can bring some weight into your hands. Again, you want to come out gracefully, safely. Come on back up. Okay. All right. So we're going to close our practice now. So I'm going to set the chair aside, and we're going to do something called pulling down heaven. It's a Qigong practice, Qigong form, called pulling down heaven. And the idea is that we're going to pull. The arms are out to the sides, palms are soft, wrists are soft. We draw the arms up to horizontal. When they get to horizontal, parallel with the ground, we turn the palms up and continue. So that's all one inhale. And then we exhale and we draw the hands down in front of the body. Now, what are the knees doing? Right, the knees are soft. We're sort of like in this gentle horse, almost as like you're sitting on a horse, right? And the feet are hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider. Don't have to be, right? So whatever's comfortable. And the idea is we're pulling up earth chi, which has a certain kind of density, right? And then when we get to horizontal, we start to gather celestial chi, right? And the earth chi stays stuck to the back of your arm, and the celestial chi gathers in, funnels in, and then you dump it, you pour it down through your body on your exhale. So you can do this with your eyes open, you can do it with your eyes closed. If you do it with your eyes closed, there's a chance you might feel the flow of the chi both underneath, attached to your arms and flowing through your body. We'll do this 9 times. Okay. Palms down, drawing up, inhale. Palms to the sky. Reach, peak of your inhale. Exhale, drawing down. Palms down, drawing up. Palms to the sky. Reach. Exhale, down. Palms down, drawing up. Palms to the sky. Reach. Exhale, down. So that was our introduction. Our first 3 is just our introduction to the flow. The next 3 are exploration. Palms down, drawing up. Feel the chi underneath your arms, welling up under your arms. Palms to the sky. Feel the celestial chi. Can you feel it funneling in here? Reach. Exhale, down. Palms down, drawing up. Palms to the sky. Feel it. Reach. Exhale, down. Palms down, drawing up. Palms to the sky. Reach. Exhale, down. Last 3. This 3, we celebrate the harvest. What did you learn? What are you doing here? Palms down, drawing up. What are you feeling? Palms to the sky. Do you have this locked in? Reach. Exhale, down. Do you feel the chi flowing through your body on the way down? Palms down, drawing up. Palms to the sky. Reach. Exhale, drawing down. You feel this in your palms. Can you feel it passing through your forehead, your chest, and into your belly. Palms down, drawing up. Palms to the sky. Reach. Exhale, drawing down. Now let's take the feet wide apart. Take the arms out wide. Big inhale. Imagine you're holding a beach ball the size of a house. Keep drawing the breath in, filling up that beach ball. And then we're going to press the contents of that beach ball into the body through a series of gentle breaths. So just gently draw the chi into the body. It's a beach ball full of chi. You can breathe as easily or as many times as you like. See, maybe you feel the chi between your palms pressing against your forehead or your heart, maybe into your belly. Traditionally, we draw this chi down into the belly, the lower dantian. Just gracefully, gently drawing that chi into the body. Even if you don't feel anything, just go slow. 2 more breaths. And release. So I want to thank you for joining me today. Beautiful practice. Let's take our hands to our forehead as a reminder to practice the power of kind thoughts, to our lips as a reminder to practice the power of kind words, to our hearts as a reminder to practice kind intention and kind action. And for this beautiful day, in this magnificent part of the world, such interesting times, with such lovely company, and for this precious practice, I am truly grateful. Namaste. Thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing your practice.